Welcome to Creekside Chat, brought to you by Diamond Creek Farm. Pull back the barn doors as we delve into the inner workings of a breeding farm. Talking about anything and everything that comes up on the farm. Follow along with us monthly as we continue to strive to be the cut above.
Hi folks, it's Sean Lingani at Diamond Creek. Welcome back to Creekside Chat as we take you into the barn and teach you about how to plan for your mares for the next breeding season. We're going to meet some of the staff who work with our mares, and then we're going to answer some questions, mostly breeding related, that we've received since our last episode. So with that, let's head on down to the creek.
Thanks, Sean. Welcome to my home away from home. With yearling season wrapped up, we turn our attention to next year's breeding season. February 10th will be here before you know it. We have a few little tricks up our sleeve to share with you. Come on inside.
Welcome to the PA farm. We're getting ready for another busy breeding season. Come along with me and I'll show you a couple things that we have to do to get ready. Let's get right into it. I'm going to walk you through some of the things we do to prepare for the breeding season up here in PA. Each year we house roughly 30 to 40 barren mares, a couple tease mares, and up to 6 stallions. It takes a village to care for them, so shout out to all the Diamond Creek staff who get the job done. We start preparing our mares at the end of November. The goal for every upcoming season is to successfully get 100% of our mares in full. To do this, we have to pull out all of our tricks. The first being able to manipulate the estrus cycle of a mare using artificial lighting. So why manipulate their cycle? Well, in a mare's natural habitat, their heat cycle starts in the middle to late springtime, and this is in response to the longer hours of daylight during this time. Our breeding season starts the beginning of February, so we must help speed up this process just a little bit. We do this in one of 2 ways. One is to put an Equilume light mask on the mares who always live outside. The other is to bring these mares into stalls overnight and set timers for lights. We set our lights to turn off around 10 p.m. each night. That way our mares are getting an adequate amount of daylight between the normal hours of light and the artificial lighting we provide from 4 to 10 p.m. Studies and our records have shown that if we start increasing the daylight for these mares in November, we should be on track to breed by the middle or end of February. So when is the best time to breed your mare? It's important to breed your mare when she is in her best physical condition. Things that we evaluate are, is her body condition ideal? Is she up to date on vaccines, dewormers, and dental work? Is she having regular heat cycles? Does she have a uterine infection that needs to be treated first? Does she have a follicle large enough to ovulate within the next 24 hours? Ideally, you would want to have all of these questions covered, and you have spoken to your vet prior to breeding. Of the questions we ask ourselves before breeding, our favorite here in PA is your mare having regular heat cycles? As February approaches, we like to start collecting data on each mare and her cycle. We can do this by one of 2 things as well. One being a process called teasing, and another is to have your vet come out and palp them for you using an ultrasound machine. For teasing, we start in January. Our process of teasing is to bring the mares in the barn and watch their reactions as a stallion is walked past their stall. If they seem interested in him, that is normally a good sign of coming into heat. If they are uninterested or aggressive towards him, they are not moving into their heat cycle quite yet, and we would try again in a couple of days. We continue to tease our mares until we have a good idea of how each of these mares reacts when they are cycling. When we have a list of interested mares, then we schedule a vet to come out and palp them for us. For a vet to come palp one of our mares, we must be prepared prior to his or her arrival. We have a handy cart that holds everything we might need during this time, and a few staff members to help out as well. Items we like to keep on our cart are a lead rope, a tail wrap, a clean bucket with warm water, cotton, gloves, and lube. All of these items your vet can provide for you. We just prefer to have them on hand. During the popping process, there is one person holding the head and one person is holding the tail off to the side for the vet, since she must enter rectally. Now, how do you choose your vet? During this time, it is critical that you have a vet you are confident in their abilities to properly pop your mare using an ultrasound, as well as read and explain to you what is being shown on said ultrasound. This is very important so that you can collect all the correct data. You should also be comfortable trusting your vet's decisions and discussing issues about your mare. Sometimes it can be frustrating not getting the results you had hoped for the first time you breed. This is when you and your vet will have to work together to come up with a plan B. Plan B might involve a medication, culturing the uterus, or simply tracking your mare's cycle until she's ready to breed again. Each mare is different, as well as the steps you take to getting them bred and successfully in foal. Some mares will need their uterus cleaned up before breeding, some will come ready to go off the bat, and others just simply might need longer to cycle. Another question we get a lot is, can you breed a mare right off the track, or should you give her more downtime? The answer, according to our experiences, is most of the time you can get a mare in foal within 2 weeks of being off the track. If you can't, it is normally a battle the rest of the season to get them to cycle correctly and determine when they will be the most susceptible to a successful breed. Thanks for coming behind the scenes with me in PA. I wish you all the best of luck this upcoming breeding season. Back to you, Adam.
Thanks, Emily. That was really awesome showing us behind the scenes on what we do to get our horses ready for the breeding season. Remember, if you're breeding to a Diamond Creek stallion, get your contracts in on time. Make sure we have all your information. Call-in time 7 o'clock. We collect every day except for Bettor's Wish and Creatine. Wishing everyone best of luck in 2023.
Well, it's question time for this episode of Creekside Chat, so let's open up the mailbag. Okay, Adam, so let's get into it. First question, what are broodmare prospects worth off the track? And how do you determine what they're worth?
Well, I think the short answer is they're worth what anybody's willing to pay for them. Right. The way we value them is we're looking, especially if it's one that we're going to sell yearlings by, we're looking to get out in 2 foals. And that includes what we might breed stud fee wise, and then obviously what the carrying costs are for her and the foals. So, as we project forward, it's like if we're going to pay 100 for the mare, you're looking to get 125 to 150 for the first 2 foals. And that's kind of
to get out.
Yeah, to get out.
That's a great tip for people. Okay. Next question. If you're new to pedigrees and mating mares to stallions, our question from the viewer is, how do you learn about crosses and pedigrees?
I think you take the 10,000 hour approach, right? Which is you have to do your homework and you have to do it religiously and you got to do it daily. And I think the best thing to do is to look at what works. Figure out what horses are racing and racing well, and then look at the crosses, what sells well at the sale, and kind of match them up. And you're new, or relatively new, last 4 or 5 years. How did you learn?
I think it starts with a passion for the pedigrees, and like you said, trying to work backwards. Like, I know one of the first things you had me do was look at a stallion and go at least 3 generations back and be able to say who the grandsires are to those stallions. Or one great way to do it is to look at broodmare stats, because broodmare stats, it's like studying history to try to understand the future. So if you look at a broodmare sire, like a great broodmare sire, let's even take like still a slightly young one in Bettor's Delight, and then seeing, okay, with that Bettor's Delight female line, what has worked well, those top performers. But I have to throw a pitch out to whoever runs breedersbible.com, because it has been the cheapest and easiest way to do all this pedigree research at only, I think, $100 a year.
And we use it constantly, almost to the point where we were bumping each other off and you had to get your own subscription because we use it. I mean, I use it daily, you use it daily, and anybody looking to do this needs to use it daily.
So then we'll just jump into this next question. It's a very intriguing question. One of the best questions I think we've been asked by the public in some time. And I'd be asking us the same question had I watched the results from Lexington yearling sale this year, the first night when we purchased a filly, trotting filly named Epic from Hunterton Farm, who is, of course, related to a current horse, Venerable, and also Crucial and Ineffable out of Jolene. And this was a Chapter 7 dual eligible filly. And so this question is, why did we pay $725,000 for Epic?
I think the answer is Luke Blay made me pay that much. I think standing there, I was willing to pay maybe $600 to $650, and then you get into the momentum of the sale. Now, looking back, I don't know that I overpaid for her. Based on what Harrisburg sale results were, these top fillies are bringing $500,000 broodmare value wise, and that they're not even necessarily the best bred ones. So her value is 500 plus as a broodmare, and anything she makes post the yearling sale and goes on and races hopefully well for Marcus Melander for us. But that's just extra. I mean, most of the time when we buy these kind of fillies at Adirondack, a couple of years before that, it's always broodmare value based, and then the racing is a bonus.
And you mentioned Adirondack, who was the first foal Father Patrick filly out of Mission Brief. And what did we pay for that one, and what did we value her at?
We bought her for $400, but we would have gone significantly higher than that. I mean, looking back, outside of being a little on the small side, I'm not really sure why she brought $400. But we had valued her significantly higher. So sometimes you win, sometimes you lose at the yearling sale. Sometimes you pay less, sometimes you pay more. But I'm happy with my purchase, and we go into these sales looking to upgrade the broodmare band always, first and foremost.
That's really cool. Like, a big part of Creekside Chat is a peek inside the operation, and it was really nice for you to walk us through our thinking on that. The next question is from a new breeder who is asking for advice on how to acquire a broodmare band on a budget.
Yeah, I think we started that way. I mean, we've been blessed with success enough to be able to buy these fillies for 500 plus, but the way we started was $50,000 yearlings. One of the very first purchases I made was in 2005. I bought Western Montana for $50,000. We raced her with Kelly O'Donnell, had some success, but she's really become the foundation broodmare for us, giving us fillies like Pure Country and Geothermal, who's the dam of Confederate. And then obviously 2-year-old star this year, Charleston, who was runner-up in the Breeders' Crown, and she's a great lady. So, you can do it, and we've had really, really good luck buying fillies and mares in the 50 to 100 range.
As yearlings sometimes.
Absolutely, and really that's where the value is buying these fillies as yearlings and buying them as broodmares, and then with racing being the bonus.
Yeah, so I guess you're alluding to the fact that we haven't always been able to spend this level of money on yearlings.
No, I mean, it's sort of success built upon success, and you got to start small, create something, and then you can build from there.
Well, that was another great episode of Creekside Chat, and now that we've talked about how to prepare for breeding season, we'll be working on the next episode on how to prepare for foaling season. And with that, we'll ask you to send in any questions you have about foaling season to Caroline at diamondcreekfarm.com. And with that, we'll say goodbye for now, but we'll see you on the next episode of Creekside Chat.